Welcome to 7 Questions, a Hear Your Story podcast using 7 questions from the Tell Your Life Story guided journal. Here we share the stories of people who have lived storied lives. Now, that includes everyone, of course, but today we have Tessa on the show. Let's get to know her, shall we? Hello, Tessa. How you doing?
Hello. I'm great. Thank you so
Wonderful.
much for having me.
It's an absolute honor, please. Do you want to tell me a little bit about yourself? Tell me about what you do.
Sure. I am a Canadian gal located now in between Toronto and Northern Ontario, where I grew up.
Woo-hoo.
And I am in the music industry and do a lot of different things between being an actual artist and musician and producer, and then I also do a lot of fundraising for musicians and teach a lot of fundraising for musicians. So how to get your projects funded and how to appeal to, brand partners and sponsors and things like that. So really just trying to make sure now in this new day and age of technology, it's not that nothing works the same, and getting your projects picked up by big record labels doesn't work the same anymore until you're already sort of understanding how to run all of your own stuff. So I do a lot of that kind of stuff.
That's so great. Before we even get into the questions, I want to talk to you about this. That is huge. So outside of this, I do like a lot of writing things with like tabletop role-playing games, the nerdiest thing you could possibly imagine. But a huge part of that is fundraising and kickstarting and things like that. What was it that like pulled you into that?
It really was like when I was starting out as a recording artist and a lot of things were changing. It was like, oh, wow, look at this industry that, especially in Canada, for us, it was like most of the money coming in was, film and television, audio, visual writing, and most of the artists were like rock artists and country artists, and then everything just changed when people like Drake and The Weeknd and all of these just artists doing R&B and hip hop were starting to just top the charts and bringing in enormous amounts of money and changing the way that people ingested music through social media, through streaming services, and all of this kind of thing, right? And so for me, it was like it was almost like this like thesis project of like, how do I teach myself, and then once I gather this knowledge, help other people figure out how to navigate this new shift in the industry where we were just, again, pandering to A&R executives and record labels and trying to get development deals, which just don't exist anymore.
Sure,
And so for me, it's really about getting the knowledge, but like giving it back is really important to me, which is why I've always worked also for nonprofits in the music industry and making sure that, they can do the great work that they're doing. I think it's really important. And again, it's like, it's entrepreneurship at the end of the day, all of this, right?
Yeah.
And I think when you're an artist, that sometimes is really scary, and you just want to make music or you just want to make art, and you don't necessarily think about as a business.
Yeah. And no, literally, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And now it's like, artists of like all walks, like regardless of what you do, but definitely like, musicians, is now you're not only a musician, it's like, well, now you have to be your own social media manager, and now you have to be a marketing professional to be able to go onto TikTok and then be like, not even like posting your own music, but being like, okay, well, I need a catchy thing to grab people and then be like, hey, you should listen to my music.
Yes.
As well. that feel, yeah, it truly, the amount of, honestly, it's well, because I know that it comes with so many negatives, but a lot of artists that I listen to nowadays, I find through them advertising on TikTok, which kind of sucks because it's like I'd rather obviously find them through more natural means, but I guess now TikTok is that natural means.
It's how everybody finds their partners on. They're using apps for that. It's like the world is so different, and the way that we consume information is so different. And I've been to see artists that I love, and they're opening act to someone who was viral on TikTok just for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Sure.
Everything moves so quickly, and so there's the negative side, which is like it can be exhausting to constantly have to create this content, but but the positives are that it does work if you can use it to your advantage. And I'm one of those people who it does make me cringe, but that's why it's amazing that other people are so good at making content that I can just like employ those people to help me, because I refuse to do that on my own. And like that's why, you know, being a PR executive is a hot business right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, absolutely. The thing, gosh, because I see so many people who there was one group last year that I saw. They're called Lawrence. They're like a Brooklyn-based, like kind of like soul jazzy group, but they got really huge on TikTok. They then immediately, as you were saying, in a few weeks were like opening for the Jonas Brothers as they were doing things, and then like a month later had this cycle of an obnoxious amount of TikTok hate where everyone was like, oh my God, they're so like all their music is so cringe millennial core and all this stuff. And it's like, all right, gang,
if the cycle so fast.
It's so fast. It's like it's a full career life cycle in like 2 months.
It's very scary.
Yeah. No, it's horrendous, and it's. I mean, it's imagine as someone who does like, you know, fundraising and support for artists. I can imagine this is a thing you have to. Is it a thing you have to think about? Is it or are you more like, no, the music speaks for itself? Like it, like they will be able to get through it. What is your kind of angle when it comes to like this kind of incredibly fast viral success?
Well, you know, the music has to be so exceptionally good as an absolute bare minimum, and then everything builds on top of that, because when you've got like 1 million songs being released per day on streaming services, it's really just, it's always a marketing strategy, and having people who are super smart on your team. Like, teams are so important no matter what you do, and knowing the right people to be able to get you seen, right? And so the fundraising part of it, a lot of it goes to making the good music, but I'd say just as much of it goes to hiring the right marketing team to make sure that you're actually being seen at the end of the day. And again, for someone like me, who I'm just like, I don't use TikTok because I have ADHD. I have a very addictive personality. And so I have to balance my life between, and I'm a mom, so it's like balancing my life between what I'm consuming and what this little person is seeing me do most of the hours of my day. I have friends who they're like, oh my God, I was just on TikTok for 3 hours just went by. It's so
it's
crazy.
A whole
So I have to be careful because of the way my brain functions about how I spend my time and how much time I spend on social media. So I think that, again, everything, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in, comes down to who is your support system, who is on your team. And I mean, obviously in music that can get really expensive, but that's where I come in to find the money to make it happen.
Love that. No, great. Oh, that's so grand. No, love it. Okay, all right. Let's move on to our to the proper questions. The reason why we're here.
Let's do it.
Okay, so question number 1. What makes you lose track of time because you love doing it so much?
Oh my. Well, I mean, we've already been talking about music, and I think that with music, and especially live music, because when I was young, I was classically trained. I went to university for music, and then I started to do theater, live theater. And there was something so gorgeous about, first of all, playing in an ensemble, and then singing with people, jamming with people, being at concerts. It's like when you go to your favorite artist and they're playing for 2 hours, 3 hours, and it goes by like so quickly.
Like immediately,
because you are immersed in something, especially when you're experiencing it with others, that is so special. And it's one of those, like, I always say music and math are the only universal languages, but like normally we don't just like hang out and do math together. But with music, it's like you could have a group of people from all different walks of life. And I used to direct a music festival too, and we'd have these jam sessions where we'd invite people from different countries or different genres to sort of have a jam together with their traditional instruments or different things like that. And creation in front of the eyeballs, and just making stuff, making music, and speaking that universal language, whether you speak the same actual language or not, or play the same type of instrument or not. gets me so fully immersed in just like it's what makes you realize time doesn't exist. I'm like, does time even exist? Because this just feels like otherworldly. It feels like forever, and it feels like no time all at the same time, right? And so
Yeah.
anytime I get to be in the studio, songwriting with people, making music, being on stage playing live music, I just think makes me lose complete track of time. And as a performer, I'm sometimes exhausted, especially when my child was younger, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired, I haven't slept, and you have a show coming up, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get up and make this happen today, and how I'm going to be the best version of myself. And then you start to play, and then the same thing happens. It's like there's something. It's just like I was tired before, but like, what do you want to do after this? You know. So yeah, I think music as a whole just definitely puts me in another universe and makes me lose track of all time.
Oh, love that. So you're talking about live music. Who was your? I imagine this is like a lifelong passion. Do you have like? I imagine that like best like live thing is an impossible question, but do you have a first live performance that you went to go see? Do you have a best live performance, or like one that was like a dream of someone that you've always wanted to see that you finally was able to do it?
I'm so lucky to have seen so much live music that I feel like there's been a lot of amazing highlights. I think that, so when I was the very first concert I saw was the Spice Girls, which when you're a 7-year-old child.
Represent. Oh my God.
Right? And I was just like, what is happening? And it's from a child's perspective, especially now that I have one and I see what lights him up all the time.
Yeah.
It's like nothing can I think that'll never leave my body. And just being in that space with all of these kids and parents, kids who are just over the moon, and parents who are putting up with it just for their children's happiness. And so that it will be like burned into my brain forever and ever and ever. And then the next, I'd say I was about 15 and I saw Panic at the Disco. And this was like, it was like a big girl trip because our parents brought us to Toronto, but they let us go to the concert and like sort of waited for us nearby. Yeah. And it was the first time I was like I just felt like when you're 10, you feel like a grown up. So I was like 15. I'm like, oh, I'm a grown woman now. It's like going to a concert, and I think the boys are so hot, and this is so fun. And so like that always stuck in her, and I knew every single word to that album, and so that has always sort of stuck with me. I saw just for utter awe talent, because often when you go see someone that you even don't like, I don't listen to Florence and the Machine on the regular, but my friend was like, I'm going to see it, and you want to come? I was like, of course, like iconic, right? And it's like, I think my whole body was a goosebump for like an hour and a half, right?
When I talk about like dream people to see, Florence and the Machine is like, truly, I believe one of the greatest like performers of all time, and oh my God, what a dream to go see!
Unbelievable, and it was at an outdoor concert venue in Toronto that I love, and so being outside, being warm, and just hearing a voice like that is so spectacular. And it's like those are the things that inspire you to keep doing what you're doing in an industry that's so tough, because you're like, you just made these people feel a way that they don't feel very often. Like nothing makes people feel this good on a regular basis. And where I live in Northern Ontario, where my husband does theater, he does sound design, and it's like it's a quite rough around the edges sort of blue collar, like a lot of mining, and just everybody's technology comes from metals that come from here, which is like so interesting. And so they're underground for like 12 hours a day, and they need entertainment. They need that release for their lives. Yeah. And so it's like, it reignites a passion and an excitement for life in general. And I think that's what's so great about it, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, your husband working in theater as well, that's such a creative household. I can imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine the pair of you bouncing just art around in that house. That's very exciting.
He's an amazing musician, and that's how we met. We met at a music fundraiser, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guitar player is just incredible. And I was singing at the concert as well. And so it was like, just like, wow. And so we make all of our albums together. We play in a band together, sometimes just the two of us, sometimes with a full band. And, but he also just has this incredible ear for sound, which is what got him into the theater industry as well. And, yeah, so it's like, I always tell my son he's 5, but I'm like, your life is cool. Okay. Your life is sick. Like you're backstage,
You are blessed.
you're like in rehearsals. Like I wish my childhood would have been this exciting, and you're just like jaded already by the talent around you and all the like Broadway performers who come through and you get to hang out with all the time. And yeah, so it is a creative household, and there's always just noise and music and singing and everything in every direction.
Amazing.
Instruments.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. Speaking of like growing up in family, how would you describe your family when you were growing up? Was it a very musical household? Was it one that inspired you in that way?
No, not at all. So
Wow,
that's what I was always told, like, oh my God, stop singing. So my parents are both immigrants to Canada. And so they were very just super hardworking, trying to make sure that we all had what we needed and build their lives and build their careers over time. And so I'm the oldest of three of us. And when I was leaning towards my dad was a professional athlete before he went into mining, the industry that is the biggest here.
Sure. Yeah.
And so he was a champion of following your dreams because he was able to do that. But as with most sports, he played football, and it's like so many injuries, and he was just one of those things, right?
Sure.
And the average like career span for people doing contact sports like that is just so short. And so he was always like, you can achieve whatever you want, you can do whatever you want to do. But when I said I'm going to be a musician, they were both just like, what are you telling me we moved to this country and worked our butts off for you to do something that probably won't work out? Because that's just the mind of, most people, especially immigrant parents. And so I was like, it's all I want to do. It's all there's nothing else in the world that I could just settle for and this not be a part of my life.
Yeah.
And so now that many years have gone by and they've been a part of this journey, they're like, we're sorry about that. Like things seem to be going fine.
Yeah.
But it was really tough for me. I'm also like, my family's Jamaican on my dad's side. My mom's from Argentina. They're very different culturally. And like I had to go to church every Sunday, and I'm also like a queer person. So it was like, there was a lot of, navigating, like just feeling like, am I going to hell, or am I why do I have this gut feeling that like everything is going to be fine, even though the people that they love you and they adore you, and this is why they're worried for you, and they're worried for your choices and the things that you're going to do, is because they truly do care for you in their way. And I know that now, right? But it was very much like, and especially like, and having ADHD, I was only diagnosed with ADHD in like a year and a half ago. So I lived my whole entire childhood being this kid that nobody quite understood. And as much as I had a lot of love, it was very tumultuous, and like the choices I would make, or how could I, calling my mom being like, I forgot my lunch, because there's just all this scatterbrained stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like, again? So it just felt like I was always just like annoying people all the time. And I saw this amazing interview with Audra McDonald, who's a huge Broadway star. And she said, I was annoying and loud and all over the place, so my parents put me in theater. And it just like struck this chord with me, because they didn't know what to do with my energy. They didn't know what to do with the way my brain worked. And I was like, wow, this is a path I had to find for myself. If only they knew that the path for me would be, she needs to be creative, and she needs to be in a place where her brain can thrive and function. But I was really pushed towards academics and just like making sure I got into a good university, and making sure that, I did all the steps that they had expected of me, because they gave me everything by coming here, etc. Right. And so I find that you know, it was tough for me as a kid, especially when you're have siblings who they just like play by the book. Like they're just like, oh, that's
Sure.
what you want? I'll just do that then. Oh, you want me to work for the family biz? Sounds good.
Yep.
Sign me up. And like that's like their biggest dream, right? And
Mm.
so I'm like, I moved out to Toronto when I was quite young. It was like, why are you doing this?
Mm.
Like this is going to be really tough and really
Go
hard
strike
for
your
you.
dreams in the big city. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just it's what built my whole entire life and career and has made me feel so seen because you realize later, I'm like, we didn't have social media back then, but being chosen, a chosen family and being seen and chosen by people who are like you are just as important, you know, as like having a good relationship with your family. And some people, you know, I'm lucky because I still do have a good relationship with my family. But a lot of people in my industry, especially say someone who's queer and Jamaican, like they haven't spoken to their dad in 25
Sure.
years.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
like you're truly striking out on your own. But my parents, like, even if they might disagree with some of the choices I make, I can reach out to them and say, I need your help, and they're always going to say yes. And so that is something I feel really lucky for. And then my brother is like my best friend. So we have a 5-year age gap. So when we were younger, it was like he was just my little like mini me, and now he's over. He's like my son's favorite person ever. He's Uncle Shawnee, and they just like do all sorts of stuff together. And he teaches him how to like. My husband grew up in Toronto, so he does not do any sports. He like learned how to drive when we moved north. Like he does. He's a he's a quite the city boy, and
Yeah.
so I rely on my brother to, you know, teach my son how to skate and like teach him how to do bike stuff and like
Yeah.
to do like the sports stuff because like, my husband's like only played guitar his whole life. He's like, sports, like I'm not,
Yeah.
not my
He's
thing.
the
right?
best guitter player in the world, but has very little skills outside of that.
It's just like there's no other things that you would expect. He's like, no, I'm not going to be the one to teach you how to play football. I'm not going to be the one to teach you how to skateboard. Like there's going to be none of that, right? So I'm really grateful for that closeness with my family and just, you know, they're always showing up for things, which is really important to me. And so yeah, it's so conflicting to think about, but again, it's like you build your own perspective, and so I can be forgiving about things that were difficult because I know that they're coming from a place of love, even if it doesn't feel like that when you're younger. And when you become a parent, you realize how difficult it is to just sort of like keep your mouth shut sometimes and not say what you think and let them like do their own thing.
Yeah.
Like my son came home the other day. He's 5. He plays outside with a group of kids like daily, and he said, "Oh, Mom, such and such called such and such an idiot." And I'd never heard the word come out of his mouth before. So I was like, oh, really? I was like, oh no, do I need to talk to his mom? And then he's like, no, Mom. Next time I see him, I'm going to tell him that that's not nice and that he shouldn't say it anymore. And it'll probably won't happen anymore. Okay, Mom? And I was like, I think I might let you handle this one. You know, like it's like my mom's instinct would have been like run down the street and be like, lock your kid's mouth, and you're not coming around that kid anymore. But I'm like, I just, you know what? I think you can handle this, and I think that since you know that it's not nice, that's all that I need to know of you. Like, you know?
Like it's like a sigh of relief of like, damn, I've done a good job.
Oh my gosh, right? Fingers crossed, knock on wood, like just stay as precious as you are.
That's actually, you know, hearing about you, you know, going to the Toronto, going to the city, and then like finding a group of your people, especially like I'm a queer person myself, and especially as that is the queer story, is like
Yes.
going to strike out on your own and then finding this like another family to like help shape you in some way, is grand. And it leads very nicely into the third question, which is, who was the first person in your life who truly understood you and made you feel like you didn't have to explain or justify yourself?
Wow.
Because this could be anyone, especially in like with, you know, the kind of queer story of like having a found family and you know, having people to really get you for the first time.
Absolutely. You know, I think that I was really lucky when I was growing up and especially starting to do theater. There's something so special about theater family, and you get
Oh,
so
yeah.
close to people so quickly. And I think that my group of friends who, because of all of us, like there's a couple of musicians, but most of them they just like do musicals or do plays and things like that. But it was the first place where I felt, wow, we're all experiencing this storytelling and these amazing things together, and you have
Yeah.
to be so vulnerable, but you're also seen and again chosen and and understood to be in that space with people. And so my friends and I, when we were young, started our own theater company, and it just felt like this is like the moment in my life where I feel like everything shifted, and is what inspired me to finally leave and go
Mm.
move to Toronto and all these things, because I was like, if we can do this, and if we can do this together, and if we can have this support system, then it doesn't matter if my parents think it's a bad idea, or it doesn't matter if, like, grandma's calling my girlfriend my friend forevermore. Like, it's like, as long as you see me and you hear me and this is a place where I can be accepted, then it's like everything is fine. So I'd say it's not one particular person, but a group of just amazing
Yeah.
friends
Yeah. Yeah.
who, and again, as you said, it is the queer story. It's like finding
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
family, and a lot of us went to Toronto for training or for building career, and brought a lot of that knowledge back to bring back to our company here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been just a really, really cool, like, narrative of the back and forth, and becoming these separate individual amazing artists, but also being able to contribute to something together that's really special and important.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, you know what? I speaking of theater and speaking of performing and all that, not shifting even like the exact question they asked with, instead of the first person in your life who made you feel understood. Do you have a piece of art? So maybe something you performed in, or something that you're
Ooh.
like, oh, this made me understand me.
Yes, yes. So the first musical that I did that just like changed my whole perspective on life was the musical Hair. Just like this hippy
Oh,
dippy, right?
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so it was unbelievable, because when I did the show I was like 18, and it was like realizing through the work that these kids are the same age as we are right now in this story.
Mm,
And they, like, if we feel oppressed by certain things, it's like, this is a moment in history where you're being sent to fight in wars against your will. You're
mm-hmm,
being,
mm-hmm.
like, people are, like, especially, for black folks, it's like participating in this will get you more freedoms, and will get you more
Oh,
rights,
sure.
and all this kind of thing. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, because every teenager's like, oh, my life, but then you realize, like, these things happen, and they're still
Mm,
happening every
mm-hmm.
day all around the world as we speak. And I just got back from New York yesterday, and like, everybody there, I mean, New York is quite liberal, and it's an
Oh,
arts
yeah.
place, but we were just like talking a lot about the politics and the things going on in the rest of the United States, and it was like, they, like, so many people are, they just can't believe, like, how history could repeat itself over and over again with these types of things, right? And so I think it made me just be super grateful for life, and for the fact that because I wanted to do something, I would just do it. And maybe people would
Yeah.
have weird opinions about it, but that was the worst thing I was going to experience. It's like, it's obviously hard, but like, I'm not being forced to do something so dangerous, or I'm not being forced to, eat in a different restaurant than my friends, or like, it's
Mm-hmm,
like, this is really eye-opening. And it made me just, like, I was like, I'm taking on this new gratitude for life. And I think that at 18, that's rare. I think that, like, it takes
oh,
a
yeah.
lot of people a long time to realize that they're actually very lucky for what they have. And everybody's, things are different, and have
Mm-hmm.
different, everyone has different struggles. But it changed the way my brain thought about the world, about how I interacted with people, about what I was going to take to heart and take seriously and be angry about. A lot less anger, and a lot more just gratitude and love. And
Mm-hmm.
that's so Hair the musical did that for me.
Love that. Amazing. No, fantastic. No, that's great. So our next question is what period of your life shaped you the most, and how did it change you? I mean, we've talked a lot about you moving to the city, you know, starting this theater company. Do you think that those are the periods of your life that shaped you the most? Is it something else possibly?
I think that as much as those periods of life did shape me a lot, becoming a parent makes everything different. And so when we started to talk about having kids, it was like, okay, like let's plan it for now. And you think that like all of your planning is going to make everything go rosy. And so when we decided to have a family, it was late 2019. So then imagine when March comes around, 2020, and you're like, oh my God. What are we gonna do now? Like what is, like, you have no idea what's gonna happen in the world, let alone like our careers, which are performing and being in person.
Yeah, and then everything changes. Halt. Like you can't do live. Well, you can do live, but then you have to shift to digital, and the emotion
horrible.
Isn't the same. And it just
performing on Zoom is just not. You want to feel people's energy there with you.
Oh my God, and you can't. It's just cold. And that's, it's fascinating because people, you know, it's been the colloquial like, oh yeah, digital is just cold. And it's like, you know, for many years, I was born in 93. Like I grew up with the internet and technology booming constantly. I was like, yeah, sure, granddad, sure, it's cold. As soon as I had to perform online, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
This is not what I did this for. This is not what I expected. It's like, even being a recording artist, like you spend a lot of time doing exactly that for the purpose of getting it in front of people eventually.
You have people around you to like, there's still like that warm kind of like soul connection whilst you're in the studio with people, and then not being able to do that is tough.
It's horrible. And it was like, so everything, songwriting was virtual, everything was virtual. And then it made me realize, because I had this clear thought of what life was going to look like and how things were going to go down and what the timeline of certain accomplishments or things that we wanted to do would be. And then you have a child, and you're like, when I was young, it was more like of a narcissistic perspective of like, I want a lot of fans, and I want to be known, and I want to perform in front of lots and lots and lots of people. And it changed to, I had a mentor tell me, you know, that because I'm a songwriter and that's like my favorite thing to do. And I write for a lot of other artists as well. And that's sort of when this started, was because he said, you know, there's a lot of people who can sing and there's a lot of people who can dance, but there's not a lot of people who can write good songs. And like good songs stand the test of time. Like they create the movie of your life. Like you can think of a song and like you're brought back to a moment because of a specific song or a specific memory or what have you. So I was like, that's when I changed everything. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to write, and I'm just going to reach out to as many people who want to write with me as possible. And I'm going to change my goals from get in front of as many people as possible, because now we know that they could take that all away from you in a moment.
You could slip.
And so once I started doing that, I was having way more success with my music, because I was like, it was like all these artists who already were very known or had already had a huge audience were now performing songs that I had written. And so that now all of a sudden my career is sustainable because like I'm getting paid for something and I can still go to a restaurant and nobody bothers me. And like I can still pay my bills, but I don't have to be the one touring while I have a newborn child and like all these things, right? So that changed a lot of how I saw my life and what I actually wanted. And then, you know, you have kids, and for me, it's like, you just want to give them the best possible experience while they're with you as you can. And I just don't think that realistically, I thought, oh, he'll come on tour. Oh, he'll do this. Oh, he'll do that. But it's like in those early formative years, and especially now that he goes to school, that stability and like those relationships that you have are so important. And so I just think that all in all, that really shifted and changed me a lot.
Yeah. Wow. No, absolutely. Yeah, of course. Hello, listeners, and happy holidays. We at the team wanted to thank you for being part of the Story Keeper community, a group sharing their life stories and connecting with the world around them. Enjoy this time of year with your family, chosen or given, and have a happy new year. The best holiday, by the way. If you need a last-minute gift, think of Hear Your Story books. We have gifts for you to get to know your mum, dad, grandpa, grandma, aunt, uncle, stepmom, stepdad, boyfriend, girlfriend, and more. Now, let's get back. Okay, now we're gonna get to we're gonna get to the introspective questions.
We're gonna get deep.
We're gonna get deep. What is the question that you're afraid to ask yourself?
That is a tough one. I think that it's like it also relates to parenthood, because again, I've been like now I'm in a place where I'm like, oh, whatever happens in career, whatever happens, like we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. But the way the world is, and you're just so afraid for your kids, and I think that every generation feels that way. I think that they look at the way the world is becoming. When they were young, things were so different, and I feel the same way. Like when I was growing up, we were just like outside all day long, making up stories and songs and playing games, and like I'm lucky that my son has some friends like that. But there's so many of my friends' kids who just do not do anything but sit on a tablet all day, or it's hard for them to make connections with people. And it's not even just kids, it's grown people as well, are just like, again, happy with just sitting on the phone, sitting on TikTok, and they're not privy to making the world better in any way at all. So then you've got just like all these people just consuming and consuming and consuming, and not a lot of people giving. And I'm in the business of giving, so it's like, whether it be art, whether it be finding money, whether it be just like inviting someone over for dinner and cooking them food. And like that was big in my family. My mom is like Argentinian Italian. When she FaceTimes her family, there's like 25 people on the FaceTime, because they're always together, because of the culture there, right? But up here, it's alarming how many people just don't reach out, because they're completely fine 100% alone. And I don't think that they are fine. I think that a lot of them are quite depressed, but they've lost the ability to connect and to reach out in a genuine way.
It was exacerbated so much by the pandemic and by being forced to be inside, and then people just kind of actualized to it. And then it's just like, I mean, I'm sad because things suck, and it's like, but we're also inside like all the time. If we go outside and we try to push ourselves to step outside of what was our forced comfort zone, we'll be grand.
Exactly.
You'll feel better. So what's the question that you're scared to ask?
I think the question
yourself?
is, where is this going? Like, is it going to be just this? Are we going to be like little pod people who like never see each other? Like exactly like COVID, where it's like, it's interesting because now that you're allowed to do what you want to do and go out and be free, the choice to not is so scary. So I'm like, is it gonna is my son gonna be this weirdo who can't make good friends because everyone just prefers to be on TikTok? Even my nephew will come over and his friends, and like 5 of them just like stare at their phones for an hour, and I don't hear a single word. And I'm like, are you guys like hanging out? Or are you just like, and then I'm the annoying kid again, where I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, what's going on? Like, do you want to like go to the beach? Like, do you want to go do something else? So I'm afraid of it a little bit, which is again why, like in the beginning, when I said I try and stay off of these things, because I'm afraid that I could easily slip into that too, because of the way my brain works, right?
I have a lot of the same brain work as you, and I get sucked in immediately, and I also have the horrendous thing of I have really bad willpower, I guess, to like, be like, okay, I'll just not do it. And it's like, I'll just not do it, and then it's like, but you also, what if you could do it? And I was like, I could just sit here for hours and do this, and then I get mad that I've sat there for hours and done it. I never find it like fulfilling in any
No, it's a
way.
cycle. And it just like destroys my self-esteem too. Like the things that, so I'll look, my favorite thing to do in just a random like bar situation is look at people's search pages on Instagram because I'm like, what are they trying to pander to? I want to see what your algorithm is right now. And all of mine are before and afters for like Botox or like, it's like now that I'm like in my 30s, all of a sudden and I'm like, you'd expect it to be like musicians or like,
Things
exciting,
that you're actually looking at.
like things that like the people I follow and should show what my interests are. And I don't think I follow a single plastic surgeon on Instagram, but for some reason I'm just getting all these like before and afters for like before and after the facelift, before and after the weight loss, before like before and after the baby and how to lose the weight. And I'm like, this is like destroying me and my self-esteem just being on here for a couple of minutes, because this is what the world is trying to sell me in this, in my, like, you think that this is a private space for you, but it's not. It's just like so many of these like advertisements and algorithms that are being suggested for this reason, which is what makes it really scary. There's no rules around it. And so, I just think that I have like, I'm like, and for men too, I'm like, I'll see my brothers and it's like workout videos or like, this and that. And I'm like, it's everyone's trying to sell us some sort of supplement or some sort of thing or like whatever. Right.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
So I am afraid of it. I'm afraid of the technology a little bit, as much and as ironically as we deeply need it, because, like when I was a kid, we'd go out and I don't even know how my parents handled it. It was like we were out for like 8 hours and it was like, oh, when it gets dark, like come inside, because because there wasn't as much scary stuff that you would hear about, because the way that we consumed technology was so different. But now, like, I need to know where my kid, like, I'm just like, okay, you're going to be there. I'll be able to see you. I'm talking to all the parents. I'm like, let me know if anything, or like send him home at this time. And like when he's older, I will want him to have a phone so that I can call him if I need to, and all of these things. Right. So it's it's like this double-edged weird sword of like an immense fear, but an immense need. And I think that probably a lot of people live in that gray area. Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the, it's so fun that you say that, because I have the thing of, I'll go like away to a place that has like very little internet, or I'm around everyone that I talk to, so I don't need to look at my phone ever.
Yes.
And then I walk away from those few days being like, I actually feel like I'm fixed mentally.
Right.
I think that everything is actually good and fine. And then the second I get like 2 bars on the internet, I'm like, beans, I'm back.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a disease.
It's
a
bad.
disease. Well, while I was in New York, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave my data off. And then I just took like, tons of photos and was in person with everyone. But then as soon as I got back, I was like, got to make a post about what I just did for the last 3 days.
Oh my God.
So that everybody can see what I've been up to, So it is just like, it is a weird disease.
Yeah, no, it's weird. And with the like, your kids go off for 8 hours and you don't know where you used to know where they were. I am a villain for just not locking my front door, because
I
growing
don't
up,
either. Is that bad to say on the internet? I'm like, oh gosh, nobody knows where I live.
Yes, because this is your full name and address. I'm just evil for it. And then my housemates are like, hey, you got to start locking the door. I'm like, we're in the suburbs. I think we're fine.
Same with me. I'm in the suburbs, and like, but I also have like where I am in Northern Ontario, my neighbors just walk into my house all the time. They're like, hey, is anybody here? Anyway, it's like Seinfeld in here all the time. Like,
love that. Yeah, that is my dream.
So I'm like, if I lock the door, whatever would they do? Like, what would happen?
Yeah, how would they let themselves into my house? The fourth wall audience aren't going to be as entertained if the door's locked. Ridiculous. Yeah. Right. So, question number 6. If you could ensure that your life and work would accomplish one thing, what would that thing be?
I think, again, it's like with the industry I'm in, I think it's just connection. And it doesn't have to be on a global scale like I thought it would be when I was young. But if you hear something I've made, or I'm able to give you your dream of making the thing you want to make, which is like the 2 sides of what I do,
Yeah.
That for me is the best feeling in the whole wide world. Like getting clients call me and say, I got the money and I can't believe, like, it's like you've just literally made their dreams come true and made something possible that would be impossible otherwise, unless, you know, they, like, not everybody has family money and not everybody has the means to just like pour tens of thousands of dollars into an album release and marketing it. And so I think that if you're able to do what you're doing because of me, or if you're able to take something that I've created and have a conversation about it, have like come and see it and it makes you feel good about yourself, or even if it just lets you escape whatever it is you're going through for a moment, I think I've done the job that I want to do, for sure.
Yeah. It's community. It's the thing where that is actually, I truly think when it comes to ideals of like career, especially when making art, when you're younger, you want to be hitting international. You want to be big Hollywood. You want to be one of the biggest people in the world. And then you hit a maturity level where it's like, I actually want a community. I want to help support the people around me and help them, because it's all about it's weird philosophical thing. It's all about the ripples that we're putting into the universe. So it's like, okay, you make someone's day better by helping them get the funding they need. They make a song that inspires one person who inspires one person who inspires one. And it's like, you've reached all over. You've inspired hundreds of thousands of people by doing one thing, and people won't know that, but it's all about like the net good of community and people around you. I am the biggest advocate for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. On a large scale, it's like when we're talking about Canadian artists, I love to look at Shawn Mendes as a great example of this, because it's like he was this really young man who was just so sought after because, again, of social media. Like he became famous because of Vine and like got R.I.P. Vine, but like that's what made him so huge. And so then he's this huge pop star. And then when I was at the Juno Awards in 2022, he was promoting his foundation when he was up there, and he said, this is how my way to give back. And then when you listen to his most recent work, it's like folk music, you know, like it's like, well, there's this trajectory of his career where it's like, you've done the thing that the people wanted, you've given back so much, and then now you're making what you want to make, and you don't care what other people think about it. And I think that like seeing that career trajectory is a great example of just like the young person going into this trajectory of maturity and realizing what's actually important, and like that your individual happiness is just as important as what your fans might want from you when you're as huge as somebody like that. But also when you have so much to give, giving is so important, right? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's definitely my philosophy on all of that. And again, I get to live that over and over and over again, which is so cool.
which truly is. That's such a magical, what a magical like career and thing you're doing. That kind of mentorship and helping people realize that dream.
Yes.
Oh my God. No, I love it. I think that's so magical. That's truly wonderful. All right. The last little question that we have. What is a question you wish someone would ask you about your life?
Ooh.
Spoiler alert, I am going to ask you this question.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Someone would ask me about my life. This is wild because, you know, it's like just being a part of this right now is such a unique experience. You don't often get people asking you a lot of these questions that you've asked me today about my life. And I think so it's hard for me to answer it directly without saying, you know, I think that everybody just wants to be seen in general. And so I think let's keep it super simple and say, you know, how are you? And it be a genuine ask and not just a passive question to make small talk. I think that doesn't happen very often anymore. They're like, oh, how are you? How you been? How's it going? Oh, I saw your stories. That looked really cool. And like, but like a genuine, like, how are you? Like, is everything good? Like, truly, do you need anyone right now? Do you need, you know, a true friend to speak to? And I think that, again, when we have so many distractions in the world that we are privy to, you kind of forget that sometimes, that you need to check on people in a genuine way. So I think that's the question.
All right. Well, hey, how you doing? Are you okay?
Hey,
Are we doing all right?
I am feeling, today is a very good day. And I think that all comes with just doing the things that you want to do. And so I'm in the middle of making an album. I just went to go visit my friends in New York it was my birthday a few days ago. It was his birthday a couple days after mine. So we just had like the best time doing fun things. Traveling and eating are basically my two favorite things to do in the world. So going somewhere like New York is like, we got to eat all the food.
It's the greatest city in the world. I love it so much.
Right. And so today is a very good day for me. And it ebbs and flows, right? Like some days are harder than others.
Sure.
But I would say that I'm doing great right now.
Nice. That's grand. No, I'm really happy to hear it. What's your kind of work schedule like? Being artist and being creative, especially working on an album, that stuff that just becomes your life until it's done. It's Friday now as we're recording this. Are you like, you have a weekend, you have a break? Are you is it something where it's like, okay, well, your son's home for the weekend, no work for the weekend? Is that how you view?
Oh yeah, that's like that. It depends on what we're doing, what we're working on. If it's album, he definitely can't be around because it's just like you can't focus on what you're doing with. Like I try to get most of that stuff done either while he's at school, and right now we're doing an intense couple weeks, so he's with his grandparents in Toronto, so we have some time. Sure. But my husband also just opened a musical a couple days ago, so I went to see it last night, which was amazing. He's doing Jesus Christ Superstar, and it's a really great cast, and so I'm like, my schedule is, especially now that I'm a parent, is very built around what kind of help we can get with Luca.
Yeah, of course.
If I'm fundraising, thankfully, like when you're working at home, if I'm writing grants or if I'm, doing pitches and stuff, like he can be around. But when we have to focus on the art, it's more difficult. So we've laid out this next couple of weeks to really get a lot done on the project. And he's like, when you do theater, it's 8 shows a week. It's a crazy schedule.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So he's got 2 shows today. He's got 2 shows tomorrow. And then his days off are Sundays, which is odd, but it's because where we live in Northern Ontario, everyone likes to go away cottaging, and same with Toronto, that cottage traffic on the way back on a Sunday. Absolutely. Oh my God. So we spend Sundays doing a lot of family stuff, and there's the festival of Indian food happening this weekend. So I'm probably going to check that out, which would be so lovely. And then I have other friends playing great shows. We have Pride happening in Sudbury right now. So I have a friend playing an amazing Pride concert tomorrow, and so I'm gonna film my weekend with food and music as I do most of the time.
Love that. Amazing. Oh, yes. That sounds great. What's your husband's name?
His name is Petr BALAZ. It's Petr though, because he's actually a refugee from the Czech Republic because he's Romani. So his parents moved to Canada because just the way that gypsy culture is treated in some places in Europe. Absolutely. So difficult. But I'm so grateful that both of our parents brought us here so we could find each other. And he's also, again, if you check him out as well, he's so talented, and he's somewhat become they call it a Sud-celebrity because we're in Sudbury, because when you're the entertainers, that it's a small place, so you become really well known really quickly. And so he recently, when we were moving here originally, he was really stressed out about it. So it was meant to be a temporary move, because leaving the city that he'd grown up in his whole life, he was like, oh my gosh, leaving Toronto is going to be really tough. And now when you ask him, he's like, I love Sudbury. I love walking into a place and people know who you are, and you have great conversations with people, and and not everyone's in competition with you like it felt like in Toronto. It's like, oh, what are you working on right now? Or all the way artist culture is in bigger cities. city sometimes can feel like really like icky and competitive. And so they just admire you, and they're genuine friends, and they genuinely care about you, and they show up for you. So he's like, my whole perspective changed so quickly on what it would be like to live up here. And it was his birthday yesterday. We have the same birthday week, so we're just a few days apart.
Cute.
And everywhere we went, everyone was like, happy birthday, man, because they just like knew it was his birthday that day. And so so it was, I think that he's really keen on being in the North now, which is great.
That's
and also
cute.
He's so good at what he does that he gets to do that here. So if he wasn't able to do that, then that would be a whole other issue. But
I mean, it's what he's meant to do.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. So best
and
of all the worlds.
Yeah, that's so fun. The perspective shift of like the big city into like the smaller city, and it's the same question of just like, oh, what are you working on? But it goes from like, oh, what are you working on, to the, oh, what you working on?
Exactly.
When
are you playing next? When can I come?
Yeah,
to you
exactly.
Again? You know, like,
yes.
Such a different vibe, and super grateful for that. And I'm so glad he likes to live here, because for my son, it's like, I grew up with a big family. He did not. Like he just has his parents and his sister, and that's his like the entirety of his family basically. And so I have like a ton of cousins, a ton of like nieces and nephews, and so he gets to relive through our son that feeling of having a lot of people in your corner, and like getting to see them grow up together and have all these amazing experiences together, which for him it was very difficult as well. It's like, you've got these immigrant parents and they're just working so hard, and then again, same story, you're gonna be a musician, how stupid is that? And so like, it's, I think that he's grateful. We can just, our son is like, I'm going outside, and we're like, okay. And instead of it like be like, okay, we're coming with you, and we've got to like stand nearby and like make sure nothing's going to happen to you, and you've got a yard and all these things. So yeah, it's grown on him a lot, and we're happy.
I love that. Oh, that's so perfect. Oh, I'm so happy for you. That's great. Right, well, that's it. That's the end of our questions.
We've done it.
We did it.
This is so fun. And
I had a great time. You're so great to talk to. This is really fun.
Well, we should meet when I'm in Toronto next. That would be lovely.
Yeah, or if I'm in Sudbury, which it happens more than you'd think.
You really?
Yeah, I have a friend there, so
oh my
I'm
gosh.
always visiting.
I'm like, who is it? Like, it's like so small. Like,
you must know them. So before we close out, is there any, if people have been listening to this, is there anywhere where you're like, oh hey, if you're interested in seeing more, go find me in these places?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can Google. Google my name, Tessa BALAZ, and like it's the same across all the social media. I post a lot about, if you're an artist especially and you're looking for advice on the things that I do have a few videos that talk about strategies around fundraising and things like that. So I post a lot about actual career stuff to help you. And then, I mean, if you want to follow my adventures and my new album that's coming out, you can also tune into that there. And obviously there's lots of music from back in the day, but a simple Google search and you'll find everything you need.
Love that. and then there is also a new album in the works.
Yes, so excited about this. Yeah,
Love
it's
that.
very different
Really
from
cool.
my other stuff, so I'm excited.
Oh, fun. Love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you, Robin.
This podcast was possible due to listeners like you. The inspiration and funds to hear your story, and our amazing team. Our producer, Madeline Mason. Our social media video and transcription editor, AJ Ray. Our video editor, Adrian Parker. Our copywriter, Parker Robbins. Our post-production supervisor and graphic designer, Abby Kelly. Our creative art director, Chelsea Jewell. And myself, Robin Ekberg, as your host and audio editor. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember to share your story.